Thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Lakshmi. Thank you for the introduction. Just wanted to point out my very wonderful title slide. It says how to overcome imposter syndrome, or just don't. I added or just don't because honestly, I never overcame it. I just kind of learned how to deal with it. So I'm going to teach you how to do the same. I'm calling this a self-help guide by Lakshmi Roy, and it's going to be the realest, most self-degrading presentation you'll ever hear. So I'm going to trauma dump a lot, but if I'm doing too much trauma dumping, just let me know. Also, throughout the presentation, if you guys have any questions, I don't know if I'm in the Zoom, but if you guys have any questions, just raise your hand or like blurt it out. This is super casual. Don't worry about like leaving it until the end. I don't want you guys to like forget your question or anything. So yeah, you can also like ask me anything about my life, anything about like my academics, whatever. I'm really like an open book and I'm not afraid to like tell you about anything. So go right ahead, grades, whatever, I don't care. So a little bit about me. I'm in my fourth and final, hopefully, year of engineering. I'm gonna be graduating in May. I entered at SAP as a technical writer. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically like writing about software and how to use it. So it wasn't really a tech position. It was kind of just writing because I like to do like poetry on the side and stuff. And in my first year, I was like really scared about going into tech. Imposter syndrome right there, exhibit A. So I did something kind of related, but not really. Then I interned at Microsoft, as a software engineer. And then I secured a job at Microsoft as a software engineer. Some things I did at McGill. I was the president of POWE last year with Julia. I was part of the Tech Fair committee. I wrote for the Pigeon newsletter. I was part of the Poetry Collective. I also had 2 on-campus jobs. If you guys don't know, there's a lot of on-campus jobs, so you can totally do that on the side, make some money, and also put that on your resume. Ask me about it later if you have any questions. So this sounds like a lot, like, wow, she's the best, amazing, most intelligent student ever. But no, this is also about me. So I wanted to be an English prof all my life, went into engineering because my mom told me to. I got waitlisted for McGill, got rejected from 3 out of 4 of my programs of choice. One of them was in the Faculty of Arts, but like somehow got into engineering, okay. I applied to 80 different internships, got rejected from all of them except for 2, and one happened to be Microsoft, didn't make any sense. I failed 3 classes at McGill so far, and hopefully that's it. Can't even name 3 Git commands, to be honest, but I can name over 5 places I've cried. This room is one of them, in the back corner. Yeah. Oh, also take note of my fun little pictures. It says, I am truly incredible, and anyone would be lucky to have me. And then the other side is like, wow, and how can anyone even tolerate me? I'm like, yeah. Okay, so if you guys don't exactly know what imposter syndrome is, I'm going to give you a little rundown of what the definition kind of is and how it could appear in your everyday life. So this is straight from reliable source Urban Dictionary. It says when someone who believes their own accomplishments were simply because of luck, they tricked others into thinking they're smart, or it's just based on timing, or when in reality they actually did it on their own. And yeah, it's more practical to see it in like higher education, like this time right now, and when you get into the workforce. So I'm going to tell you a few ways that imposter syndrome comes up in my life. So I don't ask questions in class because I feel like my questions are stupid and I should probably already know. You guys are like, yeah, relatable, I know. But then you like hear someone else that like had the exact same question as you and you're like, damn, I could have asked that instead. Not sharing my ideas in group projects, especially as women in engineering. If you guys have been in those groups where there's like 5 guys and you're the only girl, never speak up. I don't even join clubs, and I don't think like I can't make a meaningful contribution to, like if it's a design team. I've never joined a design team in all my 4 years. I really regret it, but I just don't do it because I'm scared that I can't contribute anything to it. I tell people I don't know why Microsoft or any company hired me, and like I don't know what happened. I'm doing it right now. So yeah. I don't talk or share anything about my accomplishments. I try to keep it to myself. I let my mom do the talking to like people in the motherlands, you know. I also procrastinate on a lot of my work, and it's simply because I'm scared I'm gonna start and not know what to do. So I just won't even start it for as long as I can. Another fun thing, it says, I love your work. And in your head, you're thinking, well, they're family, they have to say that. And then someone else says it, and you're like, they're friends, they have to say that. And then someone says they love your work, and you're like, well, they're complete strangers, so they have to say that. So like, you never believe what anyone says. So here's a few ways I deal with feeling sucky, because sometimes you just feel the imposter syndrome and it's not going to go away. And I'm not going to lie to you and be like, you know what, just forget about it. Go out there and do the damn thing, because you're not going to. You're going to feel imposter syndrome, and it's okay. This is how I deal with it. Number one, I distract myself by drinking and hanging out with my friends. So what I really mean is I meet other people that are feeling the same way as me. So in my first few years, the way I did that was joining POWE. I hope you guys are in some way or form a part of POWE, even if it's just attending meetings. I met a lot of people that kind of felt the same way, and it makes you feel better. It really does, because you don't want to feel like I'm the only one that sucks here. If other people suck with you, it feels better, doesn't it? Yeah. I also go to Blues Pub. It's okay if you don't drink. Blues Pub is also a great way to meet people, because when people are drinking, they're more likely to socialize. So come to Blues Pub. It's here every Friday. And if you don't want to go to Blues Pub, if you don't want to join POWE, find other ways to meet people, whether it's like joining another club. There's like a bubble tea drinking club, I don't know, a napping club. Just find a way to meet people that kind of have the same mentality as you. So don't go for like, you know, the Eng bros. They think they're the best person in the world. Also remind yourself, this is the big important one. You don't need the best grades in the world to be successful. I failed a couple classes, I'm doing fine. Maybe even better than some people that have like the best grades in the world. You also don't need like that big list of clubs to do well. You just need to apply. I'll get there soon, but basically you don't need to have the craziest resume, craziest grades, or even know what you're doing to do something. Also remember that the school system isn't always equitable or fair. If you're kind of going through some stuff in life and you feel like your grades are getting affected by it, it's okay. Your teacher doesn't know that, and your marks aren't gonna reflect that you're going through a hard time, and remind yourself that like that's fine. In the past year, I had a really hard time outside of school, and then see, I'm trauma dumping. And my grades also took a toll, and you know what, whatever. Like I remember I went into the 427 OS, if anyone's taking it, I went into the final, and then I sat at the final, and I hadn't studied because I was going through some stuff in life, and I opened the final. I couldn't answer a single question. So instead, you can't leave for the first hour, right, in a final exam. So instead, I wrote a page about how I'm like going through a hard time and like it's not fair, and I was really angry at the teacher. They probably never read it, but it's okay. It felt good. So yeah, just remind yourself it's okay, and imposter syndrome and, you know, not feeling like you're good enough affects you in many ways, and it's okay. Getting opportunities, even if you suck like me. So fun statistic, I'm sure it's come up in other POWE presentations, but men will apply to jobs even if they don't meet all the requirements, but women never will. So I don't know if you guys have like gotten into internship applying and stuff like that, but I remember when in my first year when I was applying to internships, I was only applying to the ones that I felt like, oh, I completely understand the description. I completely understand like what's expected of me, and I can meet those expectations. That was like 2 job postings. So it was kind of like I was slipping my chances before, you know, I even knew what I could do. So my suggestion is apply even if you suck. The second time around, I applied to, like I said, 80 different internships. I didn't know any of them like to the, you know, to the core. Like I didn't think I was eligible for most of them, but I did it anyway because I went to another presentation like this and they told me to. I was like, okay, so listen to me. It'll work. It works out sometimes. So yeah, apply to internships even if you don't know what they entail, if you don't understand half the job description, and you know, even if you like don't remember what the derivative of like cosecs is half the time or how to print hello world, it's fine. You can figure it out as you go. One major thing about internships is that they're there to help you learn. So don't feel like you need to go into them already knowing the whole shebang. Most people, or like most managers, especially it's kind of like the opposite of what people think. Like people think if you go into a startup, then, you know, they kind of like expect to teach you, but it's more like in the bigger companies, they know that everyone's coming from different backgrounds. So they don't expect you to know anything. I went into the Microsoft internship, like not knowing how to do anything. My programming language was C, and I didn't know any C. And I was like, hey manager, I don't know any C. He's like, it's fine. Go buy yourself a textbook. We'll pay for it and learn C. Half my internship, I spent learning C. Learning C, I like going to class and learning C, which is something I should have already known, but I didn't. And he was okay with that. In fact, he encouraged me to sit and for 4 hours a day and learn C. I was like, okay, cool. Did I learn C by the end of the internship? No, I learned nothing, but it's okay. He was fine with that for some reason because I looked like I was putting in the effort, I guess. Don't tell my boss this, please. But yeah, another fun little meme says, Bob, can I speak to you in my office? So that's the manager. He's like, oh no, I'm going to get fired. And then he's thinking, she realizes I was a mistake to hire me. And then the manager says, Bob, you're doing a great job. I'm giving you a raise. And then Bob is like, oh no, more days until she realizes I suck. Yeah, so this was basically me, my entire internship. At the beginning of the internship, I had no idea why they even chose me. During the internship, I had no idea why they chose me. And then when it was time to have my one-on-one with my manager, when he was going to tell me whether I got the job or not, I was like, oh man, well here he goes. He's going to tell me why he didn't choose me. He chose me. I was like, what the hell is this? So even going into my future job right now, I'm thinking, I don't understand why they chose me. So, you know, I could have given up a long time ago and been like, I don't know why I'm even here in the first place. I should just leave. But I stuck through it and now I somehow have a job. So just to reiterate how much imposter syndrome I have, I'm going to show you some texts that I sent before I got my internship. So this is my friend Camila. Does anyone know Camila? She works at Microsoft too. She's very fun. Meet her if you can. So I messaged her saying oh, somehow I got the first phone call at Microsoft. What do I do? Please prepare me, because she had it already. She had done 2 internships with Microsoft. And she was just hyping me up, hope we become Microsoft baddies. And then I did the first interview and I was like, yeah, that didn't go well. I probably got rejected on the spot. I have the internship and the job now. And then I replied to her 1 week later. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that was just imposter syndrome. Got the internship, don't know how. With my boyfriend, I said, how did I get an internship opportunity at Microsoft? It's like, yo, what? Seriously? I'm like, relax. Yeah, I spelled relax like that on purpose, don't worry. I'm like, I'm not gonna get the job. And then I told my friend, I've now butchered all 3 tech internships at Microsoft, SAP, at Ubisoft. I'm gonna be unemployed. And then, sorry for my language, I said Microsoft really made a mistake. I'm gonna F everything up. But okay, girl boss, aha. And then I finally got the internship. And then I was like, the irony of getting a software engineering internship at Microsoft and then probably failing my Comp 251 exam with the 20% right now. But guess what? I didn't get the 20%. I got 30. I appreciate that. So again, the story of my internship and imposter syndrome. So first of all, I wasn't going to apply in the first place. When I saw the description, I was like, I don't know what half of this means. I'm not going to apply because they're going to talk to me about it during the interview and I'm not going to know what to say. So number one thing, they didn't talk to me about like any of the description during the interview. So don't be afraid about that. They were kind of just like testing my general knowledge about like programming and stuff, which I had like none of. But I did the interview anyway. Does anyone want to know like how the interview process is a little bit? Okay, cool. So basically there was a quick like 30-minute first round. They kind of just asked me, like half the time was about my personality, like my soft skills, what I did outside of school. I talked about POWE, etc. I had no projects, nothing to talk about. I know like a lot of people are like, bring up your projects and your coding experience. None of that. I had zero. And then the other 15 minutes was doing a quick coding challenge. If anyone wants to know like the caliber of it, I don't know how many comp sci software students there are here, but like just a quick one. They asked me to like convert a decimal number to the nearest like 10th or something. And that was it. I used like, and I didn't know how to start, by the way. I didn't know how to start. So I was there like making some BS up, like, hey, I think this is how you do it, but I don't think that's the most optimal way. Just throw out some like fancy words like optimal, but I don't know what that means. So my interviewer was really nice and he's like, oh, that's like a goodish idea, knowing that it was not a good idea. So I respect him for that. And then he told me like kind of how to start and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then we did it. And that was it, 30 minutes. It went by like this. I did it and I was like, that went so bad. No chance, zero chance. I called everyone crying. Like I just blew like the best opportunity of my life. Then a week later or something, I got the email saying like, hey, congrats, you got to the final interviews. So the final interviews were 2 interviews back to back, 2 hours in between. I did them like upstairs in the Infosys, like next to the US office. Yeah, so there were 2 interviews back to back. I did the first one. I did so bad, I thought. The interviewer like kept telling me like, hey, you know, like it was okay. Like he had to do in my head, he was doing the thing where he like compliment sandwiches me. So he's like, oh, you did so good, except X, Y, and Z where you did really bad. But like so good. So in my head, he was doing that. And I ended the interview and I started crying and I was like, my boyfriend was sitting next to me for moral support. And I was like, I'm not doing the second interview. I'm not doing the final round interview. I'm not doing it. What's the point? I just messed up. Like, it's a waste of my time now because I had 2 hours in between the next interview to like study or brush up. And I was like, I'm not doing that. It's a waste of time. And he's like, don't be an idiot. Do the freaking interview. If anything, you get like interview experience out of it, which is true. If anything, if all fails, at least you are a little better at interviewing than you were when you started. So I listened to him, like wiped the tears. I was like, fine, I'll do it. And I reviewed my Comp 250 notes and I did it. And then I got the email back that I got the internship. It's like, this makes no sense, but okay. During the interview, the final interview, my interviewer, like halfway through, started going on his phone. On his phone, like in front of me. He's like literally like that. He was so mean. And I was about to cry then and there because it was like a business problem. So it was really open-ended. It wasn't like, oh, leak code style, like here's the question, you know, do the coding. It was like, okay, you have a business problem. How would you design this? And I was like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know. So I kind of just like BS my way through, thought of whatever I could. So in my head, I was BSing. In his head, I was like trying to learn, you know? I was like, okay. I talked to him about this later, like, why did you even choose me? And he was like, well, you know, you showed that you weren't going to give up. I knew you didn't know how to do this, and that's what I expected of you, but you were showing me that you could learn, and you were asking like questions, and you weren't giving up. Okay, all I had to do was not give up. I've been doing that all my life. Like, okay, cool. So again, another like little tip and trick when you're interviewing, a lot of these big companies, all they want to see is that you're trying, that you're willing to learn. They actually hate the eng bros that like know exactly what to do and don't ask any questions and think they're the best. So as an intern, you want to be trainable, you want to be open to learning, and that's all they're looking for. So yeah, another fun comic says, I have no idea what I'm doing at graduation. And then she says, you're hired, welcome to the team. And he's still thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing, which is me. Also, I'll get to this later, but after I got the Microsoft internship, I've realized that everyone is looking at me different. When I went into my classes, like some people follow me on LinkedIn and stuff, and they were like asking me to join their group and everything, and they were selling themselves to me. What? Like some guy came up to me and he's like, can you be a part of my team? Like, this is my experience. And he was giving me the like little 30-second elevator pitch. And I was like, I don't care, take me. Because he thinks like I'm this genius because I got into Microsoft. I'm like, I literally don't know how I did this. But like, okay, I'm gonna be the weakest link in your group. But yeah, I'm in a group with him now, so he's doing all the work. It's great. Yeah, so embracing imposter syndrome when you already got the opportunity. I said at work, but this doesn't have to be work related. It could be like if you're in a club, if you're doing an internship, etc. Even at work, you might still have this imposter syndrome. So one thing I did was I talked to my manager and mentor constantly about how I'm feeling imposter syndrome, because if you don't, then if your work reflects your imposter syndrome and they don't know you have imposter syndrome, then you just look lazy or like you're not doing enough. So for example, my manager, we had one-on-one meetings every week, and he would come to me every week saying like, hey, you're not using the group chat function enough. I can't see like the way you like interact with the teammates because you're never using the group chat. The reason I wasn't using the group chat was I found this like one person that I really liked talking to because they were like the least judgmental person in the group. So I was like, I'm going to keep asking every single one of my questions to this one person instead of using the group. So every single one-on-one with my manager, he would tell me this feedback and I would never change it. And in my head, I was like, oh God, I really got to change it or I'm not going to get the opportunity to come back. And I never did. So at some point he was like, hey, I brought this up a couple of times. What's going on? And I was like, okay, to be real, I've got like imposter syndrome. The only person I can talk to is my mentor, Shay, who kind of like gets me. She's really nice at answering my questions, doesn't make me feel like an idiot. He's like, okay, I get that. But guess what? Everyone on this team like knows you don't know anything and you're not supposed to know anything. You're an intern. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. That being said, if it helps, like make a little smaller group chats, just keep me in the loop so I know what's going on so I can track your progress. That makes sense. I didn't do that. I just kept scared. But yeah. Also, something I did was force myself to try even when I felt like giving up. A lot of the tasks that they were asking of me, I had no idea even how to like begin. So I kind of just like forced myself to get started. And even at that point, like I didn't know how to start. So I would go back to my mentorship. Asking teammates, I felt comfortable. So asking for help. So when you get into workforce, not everyone's going to be like the nicest person in the world. You'll meet some of the, like the eng bros, and they might make you feel like you're not the smartest or you don't deserve to be there. It's okay. Just, they're probably like that with everyone. They probably think they're like the top boss. Just find someone, usually like a woman in engineering. I don't want to be like sexist, but like find someone that kind of gets you and makes you feel more comfortable in the workforce and maybe shares like similar feelings. Because I was talking to my mentor and she said like when I was first starting, because she also interned at Microsoft, she said when she was first starting, she also felt imposter syndrome. She still does to this day. I was like, oh, that's crazy. She's like one of the best coders on the team, in my opinion. So yeah. Also, I was saying how my goal here is not to make you guys overcome imposter syndrome. It's kind of just to help you guys live with it. One way that I kind of just lived with it is by reminding myself that I do suck, and I do. That's how I feel. I feel like I suck. But because I feel like I suck, that reminds me that like I might never get an opportunity like this. If you think that like the opportunity you got is a fluke, then keep telling yourself it's a fluke. Tell yourself it's a fluke and you're never going to get something like this again, and kick ass at it because you might never get this opportunity again. So if you suck, you suck. It's okay. Another meme, how long have you been programming? 10 years. So you have lots of knowledge in this field. Starts crying. Yeah. And that's it for today. So thanks for letting me trauma dump. If you guys have any more questions you want to ask me in private, feel free to add me on LinkedIn or see my thirst traps on Instagram. Yeah, thank you guys all for being here and for listening. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. Yeah.
Who are the intros?
Oh, who are the intros?
Like...
No. So let me get into this one. So intros are like the guys in engineering that like and you know they think they really know everything, and no, that'd be a good like an intros and they like hug it out. No.
I think yeah, it's really interesting actually. Really
Thanks, yes.
Thanks for sharing your
Trauma.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Oh, good question. I've also gotten that before. After I told some people that like I got the job, they're like, "Oh, I applied. I didn't get in. It's probably because you're a woman." Yeah, I think so too. I think if you want to be vocal about it, be vocal with people that you trust not to react that way. You don't need to tell everyone how you're feeling. I say like around the eng bros and like eng bros at work, you could fake it till you make it, be confident, pretend like you know what you're doing. In the group chats that were like public, I used to pretend like I knew what I was doing. I would only post things that my mentor Shay approved. So like I would say something that I knew was right, and that's the only time I used like public group chat. And then with the people that I knew wouldn't react like in a weird way, like, oh, so you don't know what you're doing. That's who I told in like confidential space, like my manager and my mentor. Yeah.
Is it too personal to ask like
Good question. No, I'm cool with answering that. So like at SAP as a technical writer, that's probably the easiest job I've ever done in my life. It was literally like using Word. I got like 26 an hour, which was like pretty decent. And then at Microsoft, it was like 32 an hour for a software dev. But that's like higher up. I've heard of like people in tech making like 21-ish at like startups kind of thing.
As like you want, do we have opportunities to find internships, or is it like kind of impossible?
No, I think you have opportunities. It might be a little harder compared to like someone with more experience. But here's the thing, if you wait until like your upper years, then you're not building that experience. So there's literally nothing that could harm you from like applying right now and seeing what you can get. And if it's nothing, it's nothing. But if you know, like apply to 100 different places and just see what happens, because that's what I did. And my SAP internship, I got it in my first year. So, and if you're not doing an internship over the summer, like don't be discouraged, just do something else. I don't want to say like do a side project, because like everyone told me that. I was like, I'm not doing a side project. What does that even mean? Unless that's your thing, do the side project. It's just not my thing. Like join a club, or like, I don't know, take a course over the summer online, like the Harvard free ones. Yeah.
I'm doing good.
Okay, good question. That's the thing. That's such a good question because I know like here, this looks like so much. On my resume, it looks like so much, but it's not that much. Let me tell you, POWE was definitely the most time-consuming thing. Tech Fair committee, the Tech Fair is 2 days in the entire semester. So we plan for maybe like a week and we do Tech Fair and it's done, but it's on my resume for the whole semester. Pigeon newsletter, that was once a month. As a Pigeon newsletter editor, I just had to take in people's writing. So I wasn't the one writing, unless I had to make some small edits. I was taking in people's writing and then I was just like placing them into a Word file to make it look pretty. So again, that was like one night of work every month. Poetry collective, that was like up to me when I wanted to like participate. So really casual. Student ambassador job, really fun. If you guys are into like doing tour guidey stuff or like working open house, apply to this. But basically, again, main things were like open house, that took up my whole day. Otherwise, as a student ambassador, I put in my hours every month. If I'm free, I'm free. If I'm not, my boss doesn't care. EDI office assistant, that took up a lot of time, but I left. Sorry. Oh, equity, diversity, and inclusion. It's an office at McGill. So yeah, it looks like a lot, but it wasn't that much overall. Yeah.
You see how it has to like dedicate classes to men? How do you go about that? Like, I feel like sometimes I get really shy. So like, you know, I'm on the CNUS, which is money engineering and society. And I have to like give people things to do. But sometimes I'm like, I feel like I don't deserve to tell people what to do.
Good question. Okay, so I use this story a lot, but like one time in fact 100 or something, I was in a group with like 5 other guys and I was the only girl, and you had to do like in-class assignments, and so I had an in-class assignment due at the end of the class, and they're like, okay, so here's the pencil, you write down what we're about to say. It's like, you think I'm gonna take down what you say and just write it, and then that's it, that's like the only contribution? Like, hell yeah, that like so easy. Yeah, you get the grade and I don't have to do anything. But then I thought, no, feminism. So I was like, actually, I have the worst handwriting. You should do it. And that's how I did it, so without like causing a scene. And then I just started like answering the questions with them. It was fact 100, it wasn't too hard. But yeah, I would say, like, I know this is the worst answer, but like, just do it. You earn that spot in like whatever role you're doing right now. And, you know, it's your job to delegate roles. So do it, you know? And like, do you get backlash when you do it? Like, whatever, right? I'm a person that like hates confrontation. So if it's like confrontational, then I won't do it. But like, it's just like, you know, and once you start doing it, then they're gonna like respect you more. So don't be shy about it. Just, you do this or else. Yeah. So yeah.
For software engineering, how like passionate about code do you have to be? Because I'm in software engineering and I'm not like the most.
Oh my God, I love these questions. I hate coding. I hate it. Everyone I meet is like, oh my God, I'm an engineer. I love like as pres of POWE, like you can imagine how many talks about like and rocks I had to give, and I was lying every time. But like, I really wanted to be an English prof before I applied to engineering. So I still don't care about engineering. It just makes money. Like, honestly, you don't have to be. You don't